everyone, I'm Laura Rogers and I've got Joelle Jobson here in the little window. And this is Power Hour. This is our show we do Wednesdays at 11 Central. We have been doing this for 8 years. Holy cow. What did you say? It's been about exactly 8 years, something like that?
Yeah, I think it was like sometime in July. It was 8 years.
Wow. We're old. And I think I first started creating SharePoint help videos, little tutorials about data view web parts and stuff like that about 10 years ago. I mean, whew.
Probably more now. Yeah.
I
think it was
11.
like,
yeah, that's true.
Yeah, maybe 11 or 12.
11 or 12. And that was before the concept of YouTubers even existed. Yeah. Anyway, all right. So our topic today, Power Hour is just about all different various topics having to do with things you can do out of the box. We are not developers. We only get slightly technical sometimes. And today's topic is SharePoint site templates. This is a huge, big deal. This is something people have been screaming for. You used to have in the old days in classic SharePoint and SharePoint on-prem, you had site templates that you could do. You could take an existing site and click to save it as a site template. You had several site templates you could pick from when you created a site. Now, the way we do it in modern that I'm going to show you today is completely different still than the way it used to work, but it is site templates and we have them in there now, and it actually has the verbiage site templates. Also, this has not been, so today is August 4th, 2021. This has not been rolled out to all the tenants. So I have about, I think, 4 tenants just personally that I use, and it's only exists in one of them. And Joelle has it, it exists in hers too. But yeah, we just kind of poked around in all of our Microsoft 365 tenants today, and only one has it. So you might not have it yet, and it's just, Microsoft's gradually rolling it out. Not sure what else to tell you about when to know exactly when it's going to hit your tenant. But that's what we'll be demonstrating. And I am going to go ahead and we have live chat going on, which is really fun. So wherever you're watching this video, there's a link at the bottom to click to fill out a form to request to join the live chat. And we use Microsoft Teams, of course. So I'll go ahead and share my screen and I'll show you what that live chat looks like. So this is, you go to our tenant, which is called IW Mentor Power Hour. IW Mentor is our company. Then you have this Power Hour Microsoft Teams team. And the general channel has several different tabs. So you go to the tab for today's Power Hour. And then if you don't see this little chat thing on the right, see it's got a little toggle. So you're going to see the video that you can push play and watch us while you're chatting. So here's the little chat bubble. So this is our commentary. This is our, we have questions and conversations, and it's really fun, and you never know what's going to happen. So this is where you can come chat with us. All right, so for some reason, SharePoint's been acting odd for me today in Chrome, just in all of my tenants. So I'm using Microsoft Edge. And what I'm going to show you today is I'm just going to start off with this is just the main SharePoint page in my tenant. And I've created a bunch of sites. Now, when you create a site with the old way that templates used to work, when you click the Create a Site button, that's where all the templates were listed. So this is not where that is going to be. So if you're looking for it on the Create a Site button, that is not where this exists. So like if you're an admin and you're clicking to create a site, it's still going to look like this with 2 different types of sites, team site and communication site. When we start getting into the templates are that you'll have available, it will make a difference which one of these you choose, team or communication, because each one of them has different templates that only apply to that type of site. So in your tenant, you also might have a lot of tenants I work in, we turn this off where it says create a site at the top. So mine just says create a news post, but if you allow users to create a SharePoint site, which I highly recommend, you have the create a site button, and that will pull up the exact same experience with the team site or communication site. And so however you create your site, the site needs to already be created in order to be able to do the templates. So what I've done is I went into the admin center and I created a bunch of sites ahead of time just to kind of get that out of the way. And they're all just blank sites. Like I'll go look at this test to communication site too. And they're all just blank default, whatever you get whenever you first create a communication site. So there's my communication site. So these are all just blank new sites that I created. And then we're going to go forth and create templates from these. So use the templates in them, I guess I should say. All right, so let's go look at this test team site 1, this first one I created. And I'll show you what it looks like. It's already got this template applied to it. So here's the way I did it. I went to, you gotta wait till this little gear shows up here. And I went to the little gear, and this is where you're going to see it. Apply a site template. Right here. So if your tenant, that's the first way you're gonna know if you have this feature rolled out to your tenant or not. If yours says apply a site template, then you do have site templates. If it still says apply a site design or site designs, anything about site designs, then you don't have the new site templates, because site templates are site designs, right? So site design, so back in the old classic way, in SharePoint, you could click create a site, save it as a template, and then when the save as a template thing hasn't worked anymore in modern, that's the way to sort of do a template, has been to do a site design. And we did a couple of 2 or 3, I think, power hours all about site designs and how to create site designs, and just how this is kind of that was kind of the new way to do templates. Well, site designs are now, instead of the verbiage of site design here, it's going to say apply a site template. So that is a site design. So if you've already created site designs in your organization, which we have in ours, then they're going to be in here under from your organization. So this is another thing about these templates is that, like I mentioned, it's only applicable to whatever type of site you're on. So that's why, just for demo purposes, I wrote at the top that this is a team site, so you'd be able to tell. So this is a team site that I'm in right now, this test team site, and I can only see the team site templates to pick from. And when I created this site design, I created it as a team site design. So when I am in a communication site and I'm trying to choose from your organization, I don't have any templates listed. So that's what earlier, Joelle, when I was wondering why I didn't see any templates listed and we were kind of chatting about this, that's why, because I was in a communication site when I clicked it and there was nothing listed there. Yeah. So this is, it's going to tell you when you click on details, it's kind of like it used to have with the site design. It's just slightly different than the interface that it used to have. It's going to tell you everything that it's going to create. But yeah, that's where you'll see your site designs now under from your organization. So however you created those in the past, if you created them at all, this is just where you can find them now. So here's the fun part. These are the ones from Microsoft. And the one that I clicked on for this site, and I'll go through and create them all, we've got an hour, is the one that I created was training and courses. So I just clicked on it and it installed it. But I just wanted to show you this ahead of time before I go do a new one. So this one is the training and courses template. So notice that it just basically took my default homepage and just completely changed it to have all this other stuff on it. And they have this verbiage in a lot of places: sample content, sample content, sample content. So the first thing I usually do when I am looking at a new SharePoint site, or kind of want to see what's going on in a SharePoint site, is I go straight to site contents. And in my site contents, that's where I can see what is actually in the site. So it looks like it really only created, like this is the old home page, and it just created a new home page, so it didn't even delete the old one. And then it just created a few documents, a few folders in here, really just empty folders. So the main thing that this template did was simply to create a new home page with a bunch of web parts on it, just to give you ideas of how to lay out your web parts, which is good because I'm not very creative. So having a page laid out already with web parts on it is kind of helpful. Some of them also, something to keep in mind when you're looking around at what exists in your template. Some of them will have some page templates built in. This one doesn't, but that's just something that we'll kind of look around at when we look at some of these other ones. Joelle, does anybody have any questions so far, or should I just keep plowing through?
You can keep going. I think we're answering them.
Okay. Hopefully everybody's probably pretty excited about this stuff. Okay, so this one is the what did I say? That I'm going to name these as I go so I can tell which ones I've done already. I'm trying to be organized. So training and courses. Okay, so I'm going to go to my site information. Okay. Okay, that one's training and courses. And then let's go to August. Let's see. We'll go to the next team site. So we'll go to the team site 2. And this is the out of the box, just what a team site looks like when you first create it. And then let's see. Big sack. Apply a site template. Let me move this out of the way so I can see it at the same time. There we go. Okay, so I already did training and courses. We'll just do event planning. And if I click details, that gives me all this information about what it's going to have in the site. So that way you can, each time you're trying to decide which template you want to use, you can click details and be able to read everything that exists in that site template, and you can see a preview of what that home page is going to look like, and then you click use template. So then these kind of vary. They don't take too long. It just takes probably less than a minute to go ahead and apply that template to your existing site. So you're not going to lose any. That's the good thing about these templates, is you're not going to lose anything. So in the old school SharePoint templates, you couldn't just have an existing site and put a template on it. So this is kind of nice, right, Joelle? What do you think about having the ability to add it later?
Yeah, I think that's a great thing, because especially if you come up with some kind of site design, like a project site that you need to add to projects that already exist, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So it's just adding, so whatever kind of list of stuff that exists in that site in that template/site design, it's just going to add it in to the site. You know what we should try at the end, Joelle, is take one and add 2 different templates to it and see if it just like piles all this stuff in all these pages and just make a big mess. So we'll do. All right. So I noticed there's kind of this little next steps things that's fairly new, that I don't know if that's in all the tenants, but I've noticed this when you first create a site, that it's got this next steps kind of newer panel. Remember that old what's new, or was it? It was a site feature that used to exist. I think it was when SharePoint 2013 came out. It was sort of that concept of walking you through what to do with your new site. I like this better.
Oh yeah. It was in the promoted links. They had like
it was in the promoted links. It was
web part.
Yeah. Okay, so this is kind of nice. The content. This is the gotta remember what it was called. Event planning. So I'm gonna go rename this. Okay. All right. So what do we have in event planning? So that's what we're gonna do in Power Hour. If you just kind of tuned in to see how the templates work and where they are, that's really what I showed you where they are and how to get to them. all I'm going to do the rest of the power hour is go through all the templates and just poke around in them and see what kind of cool stuff we can find and what they consist of. And a lot of them have some interesting ideas of the way they laid things out and some interesting page templates that are built in. So that's what we're doing. Okay, so this one is centered around a particular event. So it looks like for whatever your event is, it has a built-in countdown timer counting down to the event. And then this one has just kind of, again, it's putting this sample content concept everywhere because it wants you to go ahead and fill this in and change it. So we've done hundreds of other power hours about web parts, but here's how to edit the web parts real quick. If you're not sure how to, kind of change what these say, you go edit the page, and then when I'm editing the page, here's my web part and my web part panel. And then this particular web part is the hero. So it gives me each little picture on here is going to have the ability to edit it. So then I can just make it say what I want. All right. So now I've changed the verbiage anyway. So all of these, at least in most places in these templates, it's going to have this sample content concept to really kind of make sure that you know that it's really meant for you to go in and change it and put your own stuff in here. So like this is just an events web part, and we did a whole power hour just like a couple of weeks ago about the events web part. So they've just renamed the web part and called it milestones instead of events. And then it has no events in it yet, but it's prompting you to create an event. So you've got your documents and then just your general activity web part. And I like the way they did this with the shading too. So this is just a section that is a colored section. See, it's just a darker color. And it's got so it's got some guidance, replace the graphic above with the people web part to display profile information. So it doesn't even put the people web part in there for you. It's just suggesting that you put the people web part. So because they can't put the people web part in here ahead of time with people in it that aren't in your organization, because you need to have people in your organization in it. So you say you would delete that sample content and do like Joelle and Chris, who doesn't have a picture. Anyway, and then you can just delete their verbiage. So that looks kind of nice the way that works. Okay, I'll go ahead and republish that. And then I'm going to go ahead and look just because I want to know what else was created in here. I'm going to go to my site contents. It looks like they added 6 documents, or maybe they're just folders. They added a few site pages, and let's see. So we've got one Contoso, previous event, and event plan home. So those, it looks like those hero web part pictures at the top, they are probably linked like to this previous event. So I go to this previous event page, and it's just got an example of what you could do to kind of show people how to go look at the previous event. And then also I noticed, let me close this, look at all these windows I have open. I noticed that I see a templates folder. So this is going to be a good indication. If you see this folder, that means that whatever site template you applied is going to have templates built in. So then when I'm just on some page in my site, I click new and I choose page, then I'm going to have, it's going to prompt me this every time, I think. Then I'm going to have the event recap template. So that's the template you might want to use when the event is over. And then the status report template. Again, they're all mostly just kind of, empty verbiage and images that you can replace with your own images, but just ideas of what you can do with templates. I think we did a whole other power hour about page templates too, Joelle. Pretty sure. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that.
Okay. Anything having to do with web parts or templates or news or pages or all those, we've done power hours about them. Okay. So that is And this is also a link to previous event, and the content scheduler list is that, I think that's actually one of those just default SharePoint list templates too that just they decided to throw in here. Okay, so that's the event planning. Now let's go ahead and do a communication site before we just do all the team site ones, so you can see what those look like. So I'm going to go to this first test communication site. And this is the one I already applied a template to. So let me go ahead and just see which one I used. And it'll be easy to tell because it'll look exactly like this. Yeah, it's this one, department. So I'm going to go rename this again so I'll remember which one I did. This is a good one for a department. This is lovely. So it's got a big old hero web part at the top. So this is a communication site, and this is an example of what you can do for your departmental site. So each department could potentially look like this. So you've got this giant hero web part at the top. You've got all these links here. So our leadership, our people, vision, culture, upcoming event, welcome new colleagues. These are all pages that I'm pretty sure that they created, because when I look in the pages library, there is a ton of stuff too. So this in news web part's empty. This is another sort of sample of where you could put a people web part. And this looks like a Yammer web part right here. Let me see. If I click edit, I'll be able to tell. So when I click on a web part and I go to the settings for it, it'll say what kind of web part it is. If you're ever kind of going through here dissecting these, so I click on learn more about Contoso, and that is just a quick links web part that they renamed. And so again, I think we did a whole power hour about the quick links web part too. You can rename these, and you can have lots of them on your page, and you can configure them all differently. So here that's just a news web part. And what is this? Conversations. So maybe we should have a whole power hour about this, but I think this is Yammer?
Looks like it is. Yeah.
Not positive. That's a new one though. We'll have to do a power hour about it. Let's see, post. I'm not sure. It didn't, the post button is not, oh, it's probably because I'm in edit mode. I'll just republish this. There we go. And Joelle did the power hour last week about scheduling the launch of the pages too. Okay, let's see if this works now. I'll refresh it. Discussion. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Oh, see, I have to put it in a community in order to post it. Okay, yeah, that's the Yammer communities. I had put Yammer communities in when sending out the power hour voting on topics. I put Yammer communities in there a few times, and it was never something that people the majority voted on. So that's just why we haven't done a power hour about those yet, but maybe we'll vote on those again. Okay, so it also builds in several things in the navigation. So a lot of these things like our leadership, it's a link in a quick links, but it's also in the navigation to make it nice and redundant. So it's got a nice, cool little page about all the leadership people. And then you can, of course, these are all completely customizable. So you can go in here and delete pages and completely change things. And if you went in here and deleted this page, say our leadership, and you went in and applied the template again, it would just recreate all those things that you deleted. It's just because that's what the template does. It's just the template is set to create certain lists and libraries and folders and items and web parts on pages and things like that. So I could go, let's see, what was it? I was going to go look at the navigation. So like this navigation is cascading. I really like the mega menu navigation instead, so I can just go change that. And now when I go to my navigation, it's got that mega menu where you just hover over things and it kind of goes down. There isn't much up here though, so there isn't much to it. Okay, so that's the communication site for department. Now let's go to the next. I'll go to my next test communication site. Close some of these other ones. And apply a site template's the very first thing listed in the little next steps things anyway. So it's got to, whenever a user, if you allow your users to create sites, that's going to be one of the first things they're prompted with when they create a new site, is that little panel down the right, and apply site template is the very first thing listed in the panel. So we already did department. I'm going to do leadership connection. So I can see it's got share organizational vision and news, engage employees. It's going to have some Yammer. It's going to have events, leadership teams, individual leadership profiles, and go. John says, if you apply a template and you didn't like it, can you back it back out to the default team or comm site? Let's try that. I'm not sure. Okay, so I just applied this template to this site, and I'm going to try what he said. Apply site template. I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to delete all the stuff that it just created, but I'm going to try. So this is a blank one, and I'm going to see if I just use this blank template, if it wipes everything out. Okay, well, it created a blank homepage. Let's see if it, I don't think it deleted all the stuff it created though. So I'm pretty sure what it just did was when I added this template to it, it created all these pages. But then when I applied, see, and the pages are all still there. But then when I added the blank template, all it did was create a blank home page and made it the home page. So it didn't delete all the content it created, that's the expected behavior. That's what I would think it would do. You wouldn't want content to all get wiped out anyway, probably in the real world. So if you wanted to delete it, you'd have to go through and manually delete things. Joelle, have you ever had that experience or tried that with site designs that you've done, like when you're playing around with those, of like taking something out of a site?
Not necessarily, no. Not because I've definitely done it where I've had to run it again because I've like updated the site design, and that's kind of made it cause some weird issues sometimes. But yeah, not taking it. I've just deleted stuff I didn't need, kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if you needed it to be completely wiped out, it might be easier to either create a new one or do something via PowerShell, maybe, to go through, iterate through things and delete them. Okay, so I went ahead and applied the template back onto here, and it's got this, again, this concept of highlighting a certain leadership person, but then it's got the Yammer web part on here to go ahead and start a conversation with the leadership. So it's kind of puts it front and center. And then it's got, these are just a couple of, so it's more about Patty. So I'm just like, how did they do this more about Patty thing? I don't know. I must learn. So you go in here and you click to edit the web part, and you just see that it's a quick links web part. So, and you're going to see hundreds of quick links web parts all over these pages because they're super versatile and you can make them look so many different ways. Now I wonder about the concept of the actual template color, because I think that those are built into these as well. So let me see, change the look theme. So these templates have color schemes built into them, and I put some links in here for y'all to read more about. It just said that in the documentation. Let me pull that up real quick. So here's our chat right here, but if you go back to posts, and if you click the little information panel, it'll pull up this panel on the right. And then I always pin, whenever I put resources out here about the Power Hour, I pin this post and it says resources related to, and then whatever Power Hour it is. So this one has got links to SharePoint's new site templates. It says use SharePoint's new site templates today, but then when you click on it, it has a big disclaimer at the top saying, well, you might not actually need to be able to use these today because they're not rolled out to everybody. So it says you might not see this feature yet. But in the documentation, it mentions what they all are. And it does, and it's got customization guidance in here that will let you know all specifically about that template, what it entails, and guidance on how to customize that template. That way you won't have to kind of poke around like I've been doing to find things to go customize. It will actually be all written out for you. And they've done a ton of documentation about each template in there. So it's actually going to have, anyway, I was reading through this earlier, and it is going to have like a color theme built into each template. So, and then it has a link that is going to bring you to the concept of creating custom site templates using site scripts, and that is the site scripts and site designs thing that I was mentioning to you. So that's the other link here, is SharePoint site design and site script overview. So those are going to give you all the gory details about all the technical details about how to go about that. Okay, let me go back to where I was. Okay, so again, this is why this one has a blue color scheme, because the blue color scheme was actually part of the template. Okay. And then, let's see. This one has our mission and goals. Ooh, that's really pretty. And these are, so the way they did this is with sections and colored sections. So they, down this page, again, great for getting ideas. They have all, see all these little pluses are in between the sections. This even looks a little bit different, Joelle, the way that this little graphic looks slightly different than it used to.
Yeah.
See, each of these is a section. And then each of these sections, they've just changed the background shading of it. So this has got the light blue. So it's a really good way to kind of get people interested in your page as they're scrolling down it, and kind of divide it up, is by adding all those different colors down the page in the sections and doing multiple sections. And here's another leadership page. Okay, so that's the, let me rename this one. This is the leadership one. Let me double check what it's called. Leadership connection. So I will do leadership connection. Okay, so let's do another one. So that is my test com site 2. I'm going to go to my test com site 3. And as you can see, this one has, and I'm actually going to do like a color test. So I'm going to do, before I apply a site template, I'm going to change the look, and I'm going to change it to red. And then I'm going to apply a template just to double check, because I read that the templates have the colors in them. I'm not sure if that behavior is different on a com site or a team site also. So, okay, so I change it to red, and then I'm going to go back to apply a site template. And let's do new employee onboarding. This reminds me of the Power Hour we just did a month or two ago about the new employee onboarding template back before the actual site templates came out, when you had to go to that SharePoint provisioning site to be able to create a site from the onboarding template.
SharePoint lookbook.
What?
The lookbook.
Yeah, the lookbook. Okay. So it is orange, and it even showed as orange in the little preview. So it definitely has a color as part of the template. So this one has this really interesting sort of, it's almost like a wizard. So welcome to the team, sample content. So what it's wanting you to do is, this button looks like it doesn't actually do anything. It has no URL. So it's wanting you to put, if you want people to have to click something to get started onboarding, if you have somewhere you want to take them, then you'd want to put the URL of where you want them to go in this little get started button. And then let me discard my changes and go back out. And I've got this big ugly orange section. Let's see if I can change the color once. I probably can. Change the look. I'm going to put it back on red instead of orange. Okay, so then I've got my look changed, and I've got, again, more about some leadership concepts. And what web part is this? I like the way they did this with the little sort of a rectangle with some smaller rectangles down the right side. It's just the 5 tiles hero web part. Okay, and then we've got, this is a text and table. We got quick links. So it's got all these links to learning portal expenses. All those things probably don't exist in this template, but those are all things you might have in your company that you might want to link people to. And then newest team members. So you can have, theoretically, you could have create a new news post every time you have a new employee, so that it will have the newest people, the most recent ones created would be the recent news posts. And then, so you've got our disciplines. Okay, so let's go look at what, they've got meet the team. And let's go look at what the templates are in here. So new hire introduction is the only template that's built into this. But this is basically saying, like, go ahead and type some information about yourself. So instead of it having to be someone's job to create a news post for every new hire, they're actually assigning the new hires to do that. So that's pretty interesting. So it's just like, hey, click here, create this page about yourself and fill it in and write your name. Hi, I'm a new hire. I'm gonna put my name here and write all about myself and put my own picture. And so in this image web part, I would change the image and go to, a picture, upload a picture of myself. So there is no, let's see. I'm not going to go there. That's not me, but that's
I'm pretty sure that's you.
Sorry. Okay, so that's where they would be able to customize that. I amuse myself. Okay, and then if I wanted it to be news, I could post it as news to the site, etc. And then I've got this getting started page. Again, just tons and tons of pages. Let's go look at what all the pages are that it has. And let me move that out of the way. I'm just kind of going through this. I'm wondering if anybody has any questions about anything I've done so far. Oh, thanks, Zach, for the lookbook link. Yes, that is the onboarding template. Oh, and you're right. I need to rename it. Site information, August test, onboarding. Okay, and look, so these are all the pages it creates. So I love just being able to go straight to the site contents, straight to the site pages, and be able to look at what really exists in there. So you can see it didn't create any documents. It really just it created this list. And most of the stuff's sort of standard that's going to be in your site already. And it created a bunch of pages. So now let's go to test communication site 4. And so in your company, how do you create sites? Does just the SharePoint admin create the sites? Or do you let people click create site on that main SharePoint page? Or do people just create sites inherently because they're creating teams and groups? Or I'm interested in your insight into how you go about doing that in your company, just kind of while I'm doing this. So let's go ahead and do another one. Apply a site template. And go to, let's do crisis management. And we had a whole other power hour about the crisis management. Remember when COVID first hit? This was in March 2020 that we did this power hour. And it was the lookbook had a crisis management template that they put, that they rolled out right then. They were on the ball. And no, it wasn't the lookbook.
Portion.
It was a power app,
it was like
right?
a Teams thing. No, I think. Oh wait, yeah. It was a.
It was a power app. Yeah, it was a crisis communication power app template that they rolled out. Yeah, that's what we did. So now we have a crisis communication site as well. So I'll go ahead and rename it. Crisis. And this is pretty slick. I like the way this one's laid out. This just appeals to me. I like the way they did this little right hand, this vertical navigation where they put this. And these are just quick link web parts yet again. So quick link web part here, a quick link web part with little squares around it down here, and then events. And then you've got another hero. It says review new company policies, but this is a news web part. So you could, each time there's a new company policy, you could post it as news, I guess. And then you've got the ability to do a people web part. And this is probably an images web part. And then, this is Twitter live updates. Wow. So let me see. So the World Health Organization is, you can just put their tweets directly on the page for that crisis communication. I'm going to change this. And I'm going to change this other one. So you just edit all these.
When you're in a crisis,
do what?
Power hour. So when you're in a crisis, you got to have power hour. I mean, I don't know how you survive without it.
Okay, so now, and then I didn't rename these, see, because these names are just manually typed in here. And then IW Mentor. If you're not following IW Mentor, this is where we post a lot of just basic SharePoint tips and just stuff geared towards end users and business users. Just a little side note there. And then it's got a Yammer web part. So that one's really pretty. I like that, especially with that vertical sort of gray thing going down the right side. Now let's see what they have as far as templates. No templates. Let's go look and see what the content is in here. Get rid of some of these tabs. And it's not much. Got some site pages. Working health, family resources, get help. So you can always just go click through these and get ideas from them. So it's most of what these templates consist of are really pretty web part pages, and from what I can tell. That's the main content, and it builds the navigation for you too, but it's mostly links to just these really pretty web part pages. Okay, now let's go to let's do another. I like the communication sites. They're really, I think it's like just like real life. The communication sites have a lot more pages that they create than the team sites, and they're very, very pretty, and they've worked. You can tell they've done a lot of work on getting a ton of web parts put together in those. Okay, so now we'll do a different one. Drum roll. What'll it be? Showcase. That looks like the exact thing that already exists when you're creating a communication site. That's the thing everybody's already seen. So I'll do Learning Central.
That's why there's like blank and like the last three I think are the original.
Oh, okay.
I believe. Yeah.
So I do Learning Central and it shows me what it's going to look like. And go. Okay, so now we have a purple Learning Central page. Ooh, this is really pretty. This thing is huge, the way it takes up the screen like this, and it's very colorful. I like the way they did this purple section here with, again, quick links, and the way they put the news here, events, and then some more. I think these are images down here. So if I want to learn a new skill, let's see. Do these actually click? Let's see if there are any, oops. See if there are any templates. Nope. And again, I'd be able to tell by going to the pages library, and if there's a new templates folder in there, that's what, that would tell me that there are new templates. Okay, so these links don't go to anything. Let's go see what the site contents are. It's not much. It's just a couple, really just that homepage. That's all it has. Just a really, really slick, pretty homepage. Okay. Team test communication site 6. Let's see if we have any more to create. Okay, apply a site template. And we already did crisis. We did department, leadership, learning central, new employee showcase. So these last 3 are just the ones that we already had. So I'll just click on this one just for fun. And this is the one that you've all already seen before when you've created a new communication site. It's just got basically a hero web part going all down the page, and it doesn't create really any other content than that. Now let's go do the rest of the team sites. So I've got my team site. Let's see. Team site 2. I don't think I did I do that one yet? Yep, that's event planning. And then team site 3. What is it going to be? So this is my little out-of-the-box team site. And I click my little gear and go to apply a site template. Okay, event planning. That's a one that seems like it would be very popular. What do you think, Joelle? Project management. So it's going to have, this is a huge thing that people do in SharePoint. This is like about half of all the SharePoint sites I ever deal with are people kind of coordinating on a project, right? Joelle, you've done a ton of these for
especially
customers.
The team sites, yeah.
Yeah. So it's going to have frequently used resources, team news and announcements, status, monitoring issues, and it's got a status report page template. Nice. That's a common thing we've built too, status report pages in SharePoint around projects. I cannot wait to see what this template is going to have. Okay, yet again, next steps. Okay, so I've got a few cool things. I've got a launch countdown to theoretically when this project goes live. And then I've got a progress tracker list, issue tracker list. So these are just SharePoint lists, and they're also listed in the navigation here. But what they did, just to make it look really slick, was they just put this giant hero web part at the top of the page and just put these as hyperlinks to those 2 lists. So you scroll down the page and you've got some documents. It just created folders for us. Activity, this is just the latest stuff that's been going on the site, and news. And then down the right side, you've got milestones. This is just an events web part. And then this is going to be a quick links web part and a people web part. Let's go see the progress tracker list. All right, and then this is just a SharePoint list created from the progress tracker. So if I went to the home page, and you all know SharePoint lists, and I click to create a new list, that's going to be this work progress tracker template. So that's all they use to create that work progress tracker list. And it's just some basic things that you could, fields. And again, just like all the site templates, after you apply them, you can change them. Just same goes for SharePoint lists. You can change all the columns, do whatever you want to with them. And then it also said that it has a special site in the little description. It says it has a page template. So it's got a status report template. So if I use the status report template, then that's going to give me the ability to say, let's see, I'll just call it August. And then I would be filling in my status report. Oh, that's really interesting. Look at that. It's got little tables built into the page where you could list things out and then just publish it to the It's very light project management, I'd say, since all the data you're typing in those is really just kind of text buried in a page, right? But it's kind of nice looking. Get you what you need. Let's see, were there more questions? Could these task lists be tied to Planner, says Rusty. No, and Joelle makes a good point. She says if you wanted to actually be assigning tasks to people and like real tasks, you'd want to use the Planner, assign them to people in Planner, and then use the Planner web part. So I could go edit this page and then add, I'll just do that. Anything else I need to throw into this demo in the last 10 minutes? Any ideas, Joelle, that you see, or anybody got any questions of things I should try?
I don't think so. Let's see if there's any in the chat. It says, it's a good question. Can you apply a site template to the SharePoint site associated with Microsoft Teams? And would it cause any problems?
Oh, yeah. So can you create apply a template to a site created that's part of a team? Yes. So I'll go do that. So so it's got a default display that you want in your web part real quick. And I don't have any plans yet. Let me just create a plan real quick. I'll just call it plan 1.
Yeah, and the Planner web part works really well while she's creating it. I'll just mention that. You can do a lot right from this site without having to go into Planner. You can add tasks and buckets and all kinds of stuff.
Awesome. Okay, so now I've added my Planner. The thing's gigantic, but I've added my Planner web part to the page. I'll republish it. Okay.
It looks good once you have all your buckets and colors and all that kind of stuff.
What was I going to do then after that?
Oh, somebody was asking about applying a site template to a site that's
connected to
okay.
SharePoint, so if I go into Teams and let me go to Teams, I'll just do that full circle. Okay, so I'm going to go into Teams and go ahead and just create a new team. And hopefully it won't be buggy. SharePoint's being buggy, but I don't think Teams is being buggy today. I don't know if I might have disabled that in this. Let me just go to the admin. There's a lot of stuff that I locked down in that tenant. Yeah, see, it doesn't have the create a team button. That's fine. Okay. This is the Teams Admin Center. So since I locked down creating a team from other places, I'll just, in that case, the admin would be creating the team. Obviously, most companies have Teams wide open. Just in this tenant, I don't happen to have it wide open to create teams anytime. Okay, I'll just call it August. And I'll put it puts me as an owner. And so once I create the team, then a team is inherently going to have a SharePoint site associated with it. So then I would be going to the SharePoint site. So I'm going to, after the team gets created, I'm going to go to the team in Teams. And then whenever you're in Teams, you automatically have a link to be able to go straight to that Teams SharePoint site in the browser. Now, if this one takes too long, I can just go to a team that already exists. I'll probably just do that. All right. Teams. Oh, I'm in Power Hour. No wonder.
Got it all confused.
What am I doing? I'm in the browser in my WonderLaura tenant, but I'm logged into IW Mentor Power Hour. That is weird. I don't know how that happened. Let me see. I need to go switch it and log out, but the browser doesn't have like a log out button. That is weird. I don't know why it put me in Power Hour in Teams in this other tenant. Let's see.
But yeah, to answer the answer would be yes.
The answer is yes. I was just gonna you can totally do it. I was just gonna demonstrate that, but it's not. It's just being weird.
I was just saying it in case we didn't have enough.
Yeah. Sorry.
No.
Like here's one right here. The interactive class that I held last month. So I created this from within Teams, and we chatted in Teams during the class, and we chatted about each module. And so this is the SharePoint site that it created behind the scenes, but we never went to the SharePoint site. We were just using it in Teams. So I'll go ahead and go to apply a site template. And then, this would be perfect, training and courses. So then I could just take, training and courses and use that template. So yeah, they're all just SharePoint sites. So I've never tried this on a classically created site that doesn't have a group or a team. But
it sounded like somebody was mentioning that they didn't see the option on those, so it may not even
that would make sense.
So I'm not sure. That's not 100% tested, but it may not even be listed.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Look at all these. Got all these hundreds and hundreds of student start sites for our students that are taking our classes. Let me go back to the other thing. Okay. All right. So, any last questions? I think the main gist is that I'm trying to read through the questions, is that a lot of the tenants don't have this yet. And if you do have it in your tenant, the first thing you're going to try and want to do probably is what I was trying to do, was I was clicking the create site button, and I was expecting all the templates to be listed there when I'm creating a site. That's not where they are. You have to go to an existing site. So create your site first, and then go to the gear and do apply the site template from there. So that's where you'll find all those. And again, team sites and communication sites are going to each have a different set of templates that you can apply for those. And the tab that says from your organization, those are site designs. So they're previously called site designs.
Yeah.
The creation process for those is the same as site designs. What did I miss? Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just saying hopefully that changes, and that doesn't always require PowerShell for the rest of forever.
And Joelle is our site designs and site scripts guru, and she did several Power Hours about those. So she put the links to those in our little resources thing in Teams.
And the biggest takeaway is it was originally called site templates, then it was called site designs. Now it's called site templates again. There's your big takeaway.
Yay. Because templates make sense. That's what they are, really. Yeah. So creating site designs and site scripts is kind of technical. It's not just like an easy point and click. It's a process. It's going to take you a good day or two or a week to get your head around it and figure it out and kind of get immersed in that and understand the syntax, and because you have to write this all out in code. You don't have to be a programmer, but you have to just know the syntax and be able to type it out. So, we're not programmers, but it's stuff you can figure out, even not being a programmer. Anyway, I'll let all you go. It's been great. Keep in mind that we are having, all right, when you go to iwmentor.com and you go to our schedule, click schedule at the top of our website, you're going to have the ability to go look at when all the different Power Hours are going to take place. And we're going to have a live online class coming up towards the end of this month. It's live online, Advanced Power Apps and Advanced Power Automate. It's a 5-day class. Again, live online, interactive with me. And that is going to be August 23rd through 27th. So check out iwmentor.com and our schedule, and I'll see you all at the next Power Hour. And if you sign up to get the newsletters, you'll be able to vote on what our topics are. Thanks, everybody. Over and out.
Bye.